Now, with the festive season in full swing, traffic officials are out in full force to ensure compliance on the roads. During one of the roadblocks in the Free State, it was discovered that foreign nationals were using affidavits as passports. The Premier, Joyce Letsoha-Mathae, was there, and she joins us now for more on this and the province's festive season operations. Premier, thank you so much for the time then. Believe you're in operation right now as well in Roadblock. Thank you so much for joining us. Would you just give us pretty much the latest on what you're seeing on the roads? And I mean, just as well, if you can talk to these foreign nationals who have been using affidavits then as passports and how that could be happening.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks to your viewers. Yes, indeed, this is starting to be common at our roadblocks, where we meet people, you meet about 10, 20, 30 people who claim that they've lost their passports. And what was really shocking was to see them having what we call an affidavit, where they went to a police station and claim that they've lost their passports, and therefore they're allowed to travel and cross the borders. And the question was, how are you going to cross the border with an affidavit that is not even verified? Because remember, if I say I lost my ID, somebody should be able to verify that do I indeed have an ID. And they don't even know their passport numbers. They just make a statement in front of the police and they call them affidavits. So we really arrested them, and a lot of them in Free State. I think out of 120 something that we arrested, about 70 of them did not even have the passports, but were having affidavits. So you could say that it's a trend. It's something that people think they can use. But our worry now, which is already worrying us as government, what happens at the borders if somebody arrives with an affidavit instead of a passport? Because what we expected from the police was at least to verify through Home Affairs and say, yeah, but the surnames of this person, their date of birth, does he really has a passport, or is just a story? So we found it to be stories that we cannot even listen to and tolerate on our roads or from our passengers.
Have you been able to engage at all with the Border Management Authority or Home Affairs at all?
Yes, indeed. When we do these operations, remember, we also, it's a multidisciplinary approach that we're using here. We got Home Affairs. Even this morning, we started the other one at 22/7 at N3. We do have immigrations. But there are those late hours where these people are traveling a lot. The operation that I had on the 24th ended on the 25th at 4 o'clock. We started at 5 o'clock on the 23rd, and it ended at 4:30 the next day in the morning. And that's why we have a lot of them during that time. And we had to take them and process them, at least I took them to police stations so that immigration can process them. Because we cannot really rely on the affidavit. They had to, but only to find that they really did not have this passport. Some of them is just that they just went to police station. They claimed that they have got, what we are saying, how do we compare an affidavit that does not even have a passport number? So this is a challenge that really needs our national government to assist at the borders, because it is clear that these people has a way of crossing these borders. How? We don't know.
Yeah, that becomes the immense and big worry at this stage then, Premier. So I'd imagine then that they have been apprehended and put into jail then. Where to? What are the steps from here? Does law enforcement just take over ultimately from this stage? Or will you be looking towards how exactly this is happening as well across your province?
No. What I also discussed with some of my MECs, especially Tate Jabum Balula, was to suggest that when we go for this Lekgotla in January, these are some of the things that we really need to take to the national Lekgotla, the cabinet Lekgotla that I'm going to attend in my capacity as the Premier, and just to indicate or just to share with the cabinet itself how I'm going to address this issue, because really it's common. Let me make one example. We were just moving around our complex. Now, as I'm rushing for this interview, we went to one saloon. We're just dishing out pamphlets just to warn people about ATMs. And, people just run away from the saloon. We have to run around, go and get them. They don't have documents as well. They are here. Others are showing us the same thing that, no, I've reported Home Affairs, there's an affidavit. So we just apprehended some now. I think about 5 that we just apprehended now in the few minutes ago. So these are issues that we really need to take up with national government, the national minister. We really need to check what is that is happening. You also find a situation where a person has a passport without any stamp, but it's Zimbabwean, I'm making an example, a Zimbabwean passport, is in another country, no stamp, nothing, doesn't show that this person has ever crossed the border, but he is here. Others are saying, no, it has expired, I'm going to apply. But you're already in the country. How are you going to cross over to apply in your own country? Because you cannot apply from this side. So these are really issues that we really need to look at as the government and assist even the provincial government to make sure that we deal with this issue. Because honestly, we suspect a lot of corruption at the level of officials at the borders.
Yeah, I think a lot of concern will definitely be had with regards to this then. Would you be continuing then these operations right through to New Year's and beyond perhaps as well to kind of stamp out as much as possible, of course, of this? And what does this then say about law enforcement then in the province? Does it need to be ramped up in order to, deal with issues and situations such as this?
Lucky enough, we are with the commissioner here, the provincial commissioner and the senior management where we are in Toto. We started at N3 earlier this morning with the deputy commissioner of police and the General Sibia was also here. And we also shared these concerns with them. And really, this is one thing that they also committed to engage the police officials to really deal with these matters of affidavits, verify issues, because it's a statement under oath. That's one thing that people must understand about an affidavit. So they shouldn't just dish out affidavit. But with this program that we are having, these operations, it's going to be beyond the New Year. Because you see, the problem where we have seen the challenges with these buses that are traveling from Cape Town to Zimbabwe. So we're expecting them to come back in January. They are going to find us waiting. We also had interprovincial operations. It was on Tuesday, we went to, it was a border between Northern Cape and ourselves. We've got one bus there. That bus actually avoided N1. They opted to go via N8 into Kimberley and thinking of joining N12, and they found us there waiting for them. And out of that bus, we're able to arrest about 30 people out of that bus. So we're working hard in making sure that the law is, we respect the laws of this country in this province. So remember, Free State is in the middle, it's in the center. So that's where everybody's going to cross over. We're working hard. We're not resting. Like I indicated that on the 24th, we had an operation that started at 5 o'clock. It ended the next day, 4:30 in the morning. And that's why we also arrested about 4 drink and drive, where people thought it's quiet on the road, and they found us waiting for them.
Yeah, these festive season operations are certainly very crucial and important. How do we ensure that this happens as well around the clock? And I say around the clock, really just around the year as well, that we're at least this stringent and this strict as well, and we're able to find things out. And I know that this is obviously the busier time, but to ensure that there aren't any cracks in any of these operations as they continue throughout the year.
You know, last year when I was still the MEC for Community Safety, Roads and Transport, we did not really rest. Like I'm saying, it's an ongoing program that we have to embark on for us to bring law and order in our province. So we agreed with SAPS. We had a meeting last week with SAPS that we're not going to stop. It shouldn't only be about festive season, because there are those people who are taking advantage that it's quiet, it's February. They are going to find us waiting for them. It's an ongoing operation that we have embarked on. We're not going to stop. We are not going to stop.